With the catapults repulsing the demons' armies from the walls, Azmodan proves tenacious. His sappers have tunneled into the keep's depths. If we don't go down and stop the incursion, they will boil up from the sublevel and kill every man, woman, and child within.
Azmodan's demons have opened an enormous hole in our walls and are flooding into the depths. If it is not closed, the keep will be overrun.
Then I will seal it.
You are a great warrior.
I'd say you know a bit about war yourself.
I do what I can. Imperius himself would have been hard-pressed to hold these walls as long as these soldiers have. This world owes them a great debt.
Imperius?
Imperius is the Archangel of Valor. It is he who commands the legions of the high heavens.
Has the conflict between heaven and hell ever come close to an end?
We thought we had lost everything at the 5th Battle of the Diamond Gates. The prime evils and their legions crashed against the very entrance of heaven itself. But one of my most trusted lieutenants, Iswal, turned them back. Still, the day might have been lost had the demon lords not fallen to fighting amongst themselves. So confident of their impending victory, they turned on each other over the spoils they had yet to win. I shudder to think what the demon lords might accomplish should they ever stop betraying one another. Such is the self-defeating nature of evil.
It's then we get word of reinforcements from Westmarch.
I bring word from the King of Westmarch.
Has he agreed to send us reinforcements?
My lord says he will send no living men to battle imaginary demon lords.
Perhaps he'll believe when his kingdom is burnt to ashes around him.
Surely with the destruction that the Lord of Lies caused in Chaldeum, the King of Westmarch must sense that our battle is his as well. Visit Leah down in the armory. Luckily, Azmodan's forces have not breached this area, but we can see the stone's resistance is intensifying.
The stone is vibrating. I can barely hold it. Their voices, they're screaming in my head.
Will Leah be able to resist the stone's evil?
She must. Clearly the stone wasn't built to contain 6 demon lords indefinitely. Only Leah's will holds it together.
Stay strong, Leah. I will kill Azmodan quickly.
I wish we could do more for Leah. Maybe I could hold the stone together for a while.
That is her burden. Ours lies on the battlefield.
Very well.
With time running out, we leave Leah to contend with the demons in the stone. Heading north, we find demons have boiled forth from the keep's northern tower.
The demons are in the keep! They're coming up from the depths! To arms! To arms!
I would ask if you're all right, but I know better.
That was hardly an ambush anyway. Do you remember when the barbarians tried the same thing 30 years ago?
Ha! They tried to steal you away, didn't they? I was frantic until they brought you back 2 hours later with an apology.
I simply reasoned with him. Ghom still sends me a bundle of hides sometimes, you know. He was the nicest kidnapper I ever met.
Leaving the soldier and his wife to discuss the barbarians' ongoing gifts, we head down into level 1 of the keep's depths. We then are confronted with the voracious soul rippers. We remember reading about them in Cain's journal.
We must face another trial, my friend.
Soul rippers are the bane of the living, creatures born of the endless malice churning within hell. Agile and swift, the rippers cover ground quickly by latching onto prey with their enormous tongues, and then leaping on top of their victims. From this point, the Ripper cannot be deterred. It has begun to feast.
We also come across a satchel that gives insight into the life of the barbarians.
I have been fortunate enough to learn much of the barbarians' complicated history in my time. Yet the origins of these large, mighty warriors are hazy at best. Legend holds that they are the offspring of Bull Kathos, an ancient who embodied their ideals of strength, bravery, and courage. The children of Bull Kathos settled in the northern steppes, an area that is now known as the Dreadlands. Theirs was primarily a nomadic and tribal culture, though they had a few permanent settlements such as Cesseron and Harrogath. A group of revered former warriors known as the Elder Council ruled the barbarians. The barbarians have always defended their lands in the north from trespassers. They believe that it is their sacred charge to guard Mount Ariat and the world stone within it from the outside world. Unfortunately, their battle prowess and tenacity have been misinterpreted as bloodthirst and territorial savagery by soldiers in Westmarch.
Death stalks you!
As we call upon the holy light to burn through Azmodan's forces, we locate his orders on one of his fallen demon troopers.
Minions. The men actually think that they can hide behind their paltry little walls. But they have only had a glimpse of the full host of hell. We will see them drown in our tide of sin. The girl is still weak, and their hero will not expect us to attack from below. Send in the ravening beast.
Wow, Miriam's really not going to appreciate that nickname. Jokes aside, what was Azmodan talking about? Who is this ravening beast? And we must quell their uprisal before they make it to the Soul Stone above.
Patience. The crusade marches on!
Having stymied much of the uprising that had occurred in the keep's first couple of levels, we then enter the cold air of the breach. Again, Azmodan appears before us.
You're too late. My servant is already inside your walls, and his hunger is ravenous. He will devour your corpse, and those of your friends.
We see that Azmodan's threat is not idle. Perished troops litter the grounds in the way to the keep's depths. And upon entry in the northeastern wall, we find a scroll that outlines the history of Bastion's keep itself.
Many centuries ago, King Corsic built Bastion's keep to pen the barbarian threat in the north. After years of military disasters, the frustrated king led a Larder out of the fortress and into the north to conquer the barbarians once and for all. Not one of them came back.
Our trials have been few up until this point. Azmodan will make his move soon. The blood of innocents flows over our path.
Inside the breached keep, we see blood and gore strewn about the hallways, reminiscent of our time against the Butcher. And at the end of a northeastern hall, there lies the Larder. The stench of rotting flesh is almost overwhelming. The Enchantress then warns.
The demon. He's here.
The one who killed Lord Belial. I will savor, tearing the flesh from your bones.
The gate behind us abruptly closes, and we have no choice but to defend ourselves. For his size, the Lord of Gluttony moves surprisingly quickly, but his attacks are very slow. Of the 4 attacks, we are bombarded with gas clouds. This creates 2 clouds of gas that deal average poison damage over time. The damage of each cloud grows as the player stands in it. The second ability is Bile Spew, spraying players in a mid-ranged cone in front of Ghom with acid, dealing high poison damage over 2 seconds. The third ability, Slime, is a long-range attack that deals slight poison damage and spawns 2 disgusting slimes on enemies that continuously attack the player. Once both are killed, they drop a guaranteed health globe. This attack is used with no regards as to whether a foe is in melee range or not. And the final ability, Bite, is a regular melee attack and deals slight to average physical damage. At the northeastern end of the room, we find a half-eaten guard, and on his corpse, Ghom's own log.
The human prisoners are panicking now. they must have noticed that fresh meat only comes after one of their number is dragged away, screaming. This will not hold. Slaughter the ones who starve themselves and feed them to their hungry friends. When those ones are fully stuffed, I will be ready to die.
After a long and arduous battle, the demon begins to fatigue and has had his fill of our blade, accompanied by lashings of the light. Ghom, upon defeat, erupts in a putrid mess and soils himself. Ichor and noxious gas ooze from his body. We collect up the goods that we find he swallowed previously and head back to town, where Asmodean awaits.
I'm returning to town.
Empty victory over a useless tool. You have only delayed your inevitable destruction. Your walls have grown no stronger. Our assault continues unabated. The stone will still be mine.
Even after losing his lieutenant, Asmodean is as confident as ever. However, Leah can only hold on so long, and a war of attrition has begun.